back everybody to Mr. Bravo's workshop. We have just finished the HMS hood. Now we need to finish the other side of this Revell versus Bismarck and build the actual Bismarck. There is the box back there, and I'm sure you are as keen as I am to get into this. It's a really good ship and I can't wait to show you. So let's get on with the build, and thanks for watching. Good morning everyone, and welcome back to Mr. Bravo's workshop. I have only just finished completing the HMS 1/700 scale hood, and here in front of me is the other half of this box kit, the Bismarck. In the box opening, I stated that I didn't know what all those sprues were for, and it turns out the big sprue pack, and it turns out they're all for this ship here. All of this is all for this ship, so there's a lot involved in this ship. And what are we going to do? Well, I want to talk about this ship just for 1 minute. I'll just bring the hood back in for a second. Now, we kind of cheated a little bit here on this ship being a 1/700 scale, and there was an awful lot of grey on it. Believe it or not, I did paint this hull, not that you could tell because it all looks the same. Some of these plastic parts I did not paint. All I did was flatten them out with a bit of matte. It all worked out rather well. Okay, so the plan is on this one, it's a different colour grey. So I think what we're going to do on this ship is kind of follow the same trend, but on this one here we put some darker stuff on, and I think on this one here we're going to put lighter stuff on to make a difference. Will that work? I don't really know, but we will do this together and we'll find out. This one turned out rather well like that. I'm not used to doing 1/700 scale ships, so yeah, this was just a little different for me. I was quite amazed at how many boats were on there though, like these little boats. But anyway, we got them all on. So yeah, anyway, that's the plan on this one, is we'll stick with we'll stick with the main colours, because I'm assuming that some of these parts are going to be just as small and probably just as hard to paint. So where we can, we'll just put the lighter grey on, and it may not work. I don't really know. This one worked out rather well, so this is why I'm thinking I'm going to go with that. We put the dark grey on all the tops, some of the cannons here, some of the piping, just bits and pieces. The rest of it is all painted the same colour. So we stick with the dark on this one as a hull, and then maybe the light colour, the same two colours, but we'll just reverse them and I think we'll be just fine. Anyway, I just thought I'd catch up with that, and that's what we're going to do on this ship. Okay, now let's get back to the Bismarck here. So there's 5 sprues here, 6, 7, 8, and there's 2 in here, 9, 10. So this is a big ship, or a lot involved with this ship. So it's 10 sprues. Because there's so many, I'm actually going to mark the sprues. So I'll quickly do that now. It just makes it easy to spot all the different pieces. Well, there's all the little sprues all done. There's a couple of C's and a couple of D's that are doubled up. So we'll put them to one side now. They're all ready to go. This one we won't worry about. It's pretty explanatory what this one is. Okay, let's open up the pack on this one. We've got some tape over here. Sorry about that. Looks like we have another 2-piece hull this time, not 3 pieces. Some flooring. So 2 more sprues there. We'll mark them up. So these last 2 sprues, they're E and F. And I put that on both sides, so no matter which way I have it, I know what I'm looking at. So let's put these aside. I will say though, I can already feel that the plastic is different. It's quite a different mould set to the other one. Some of the moulds on the other one were not the best. There seems to be a whole lot more detail in these sprues. I mean, there they are there. You can see there's a whole lot of extra detail. I mean, even in pieces like this up here, it's all in there. So this should turn out to be a rather nice ship. I do have a 1/350 Bismarck here to be done. So I probably won't do that right after this one, but anyway, let's get this one organised. There's our instruction booklet. Let's have a bit of a look where we got to start. Now, if you're following along with this one, the instructions are on the internet and under the box opening for this kit. So section 1 is basically putting the two sides together, and we need A8 and A9, which was that one that we didn't mark up before, just here. But before we do that, let's have a bit of a look at the mouldings on this and see how we went. Yeah, let's see how it actually goes together anyway. The other one went together rather well, but you never know. Give me a minute. Well, right off the bat, this is very, very interesting. This ship or this kit has suffered some form of heat stroke because we're not a little bit out, we are a long way out. So if you've got a kit like this, I'm going to suggest that there's two very tiny locking pins in the center here which kind of help you put it together. And because of this problem through the center, you're going to have problems getting those locking pins together. But you can actually get them together. So what I'm going to suggest is you probably glue the very center. And we may actually need some clamps on this one so we can clamp the rear and then clamp the front end at the same time. Because if you close up the rear, it's going to want to close up the front. Does it look equally out? I don't really know. I mean, I'll move it better for you guys. I'm going to say it's probably equally out. I don't really know. It's not a good fit, that's for sure. It's a mile off. So we've hit our first roadblock already on this one. I can't believe it. That's a bad fit, actually. So we'll glue up the center, and then we'll sort of come in and out, and see how we go with this. Now, I thought I'd come back in because I was just having a bit of a muck around with it. That's the center done, which I would assume the hull is fairly flat. Even on the illustrations here, they look fairly flat. If you squeeze these where the both ends touch, you've got one massive bow in the center there, and there's one of those locking points that I was telling you about. Yeah, this is not going to be an easy one to glue together, but as you know, everything is always fixable. So we will get on with this. So I've got the back half together here. Quite nice. It's quite flat. When I say flat, as in that way, it's not bad. It's got a little bit of a, thing to it. So what I'm going to do is, while it's touching there, I'm going to glue that. So I've glued that from here, which is pretty much, there's a line. These lines here, they stop. I've glued that from there to where it touches. So we'll give that a good, it's 10:30 now, we'll give that a good 10 minutes. Just while I'm waiting for this to go off, which it's almost there anyway. It's been 3 minutes, 4 minutes. I'm going to put some glue through the center here to actually help do this bond. I don't really want this breaking after I glue it together. So just for now, we'll put a bit of extra on there and see if it can actually help us out. So we don't want to go past where the opening is because we do want to close that up. So just where it's pretty much all closed off. So I'll give it a couple of minutes. Okay, it's been a good few minutes. I was just mucking around with this, and I reckon the next section we close up is this rear section just here. We could probably do that in one hit, and then we'll worry about the tail end of it just last. So if we close it up a little bit, we could probably just wick most of the glue in there, which is what we'll do right now. Is it lined up? It is lined up. Yes. Let's wick all the glue right across the back there. Probably going to use a little extra on this one. Now let's close that off. And that one there, let's try and line them up level as well across the top. We'll just hold that there for a minute till it goes off. I think what we'll do now that it's joined and we do know that we'll close up, although I do not want it too much folding like that, I think what we'll do is we'll go along and we'll glue from the center down to that bit there on the inside, just to help stiffen it up a bit. So that would be almost from the rear brace back almost to the tail, and I'm not going to be too skimpy with the glue here. It's on the inside, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll just lather that on, and we'll give that a couple of minutes to go off, and then we'll put the last bit of the tail together. Now, before you walk away, like I was about to, let's just make sure that it's still closed, like that. Does look to be a single rear prop on this one, and it's right there at my fingertips, my thumb tips. So let's just make sure that's closed as well while we're at it. And while I'm here, I'll just turn the paws off. So I think before we stress the rear and the center here anymore, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it from here to that center line there, and then I'll stop and close that up. Because it's very close, it should help wick it together, and we won't need to really flood it. So if I just close it up, oh, you didn't see that. So if I just get that hole right, close it up like that, we'll wick the glue in from there through. It should wick all the way through. We'll use this as a stopping point, and then what we'll do, we'll just shut that up from there and close that off. And we're slowly bringing it all back in. Again, making sure you're level, like pushing them up and down. You don't want them above each other. So we'll just hang on to that till it goes off. Just double check that joint. Yeah, it's all right. A bit hard to check that. It's got a ridge on it. So we'll just wait a minute for that to go off. Okay, that's kind of gone off. Now what I am noticing though, that first section we glued has got a stress mark in it, like it's turning white. So I think before we go any further, we'll turn this over and we'll try and put one of these braces in to hang on to it. So there's the brace. 9 is the rear brace, which is this one here. I'll just quickly chop that off and I'll clean that up quickly. So there it is off. There was a bit of sprue up the top there, and we'll just fit this and see how it goes. Bit of hair there from when I was sanding it. Put it in the rib, and it just kind of wants to snap in there, so that's pretty good. And I think what we'll do is, while that's sitting in there, to help strengthen this up, we'll glue that down. So it really did snap on in. So we'll just glue that all the way home. That'll help give the hull some rigidity. No. Some strength, maybe some strength. And we'll do the other side as well, only because this is really that bad, this hole. I'm putting quite a lot on. I don't even need any more there, it's just rolling around. So give that 10 minutes to go off, and that should help the hull a bit more. So there's technically our next locking point here, which is just from here, and it's putting stress on the glue now. So what we'll do, we'll just wick some more glue from there to there through the center, and we'll try and close that bit up as well. Putting glue on can put stress on the glue you've already had, so we will hold this together. And again, make sure it's flat. It's like in line with each other, not one edge is up more than the other. So I'm using these two fingers to kind of hold it together, and this thumb is just lining the top up. And as you can see, there's still quite a big gap down here. I mean, I'm holding it with a fair amount of force, just to set that line off. And then what we might do is we might put the clamp on at the end. So I'm still holding this together. I did let it go and then it split apart, and then I've had to re-glue it and Right now, it's fairly level. There is a rigid line for it, so it is hard to tell. The glue has squeezed out a little bit, but that's okay. So I'm just trying to hold this to get it together, so I can at least drop some glue in the other side and probably put the other hull stiffener in there. Because once that's done, then we can muck around the two ends. So I've just let that go, and you can see it's got stress on it. And because plastic's a bit soft when you first glue it up, I think what we'll do is we'll give this 10 minutes to do whatever it wants to do here. I don't need to hang on to it now, so we're just going to let it go right off. Okay, that's now done, so we'll turn this around. It's probably been at least 10 minutes. It's got a little bit of flex in there. I don't want to flex it too much, so we'll put the other one on, and that should guide the hull on where it needs to be. So there's a piece off. I've just given it a quick sand. Let's just see how it goes. And it's kind of not a tight fit yet. I think I'll still leave it in there, but I don't think I'll glue it yet. Because now we should be able to shut the end off without worrying about the hull wanting to tip. Can I just say, that is a horrible, horrible ending to the ship here. It is just, yeah, can't say that word. It's not very nice. So I think what we'll do now, there it is there, we'll just glue this and squash that together, I think, from here. We'll just leave that in there. So I've dropped some glue in here. The end is pretty good. It's not the best fit, but let's work with it. So let's put some glue down in there. I just hope it doesn't wick through to my fingers. Let's glue that join while we're at it. Let's soften some of that plastic up that's already got a join in it. And just anywhere else we can get there. And let's try and just close that up. There it is there. I'll try and get in. So we've got it all closed. We just have to work with it a little bit. So I'm going to hang on to this, as awkward as it is, for a few more minutes and see how we go. So I've just let go of it. You can see it's closed up. We do need to give it a little bit longer. How did it go on the other side? Yeah, it kind of closed up all right. We might need to work just on the very tip there a little bit, but a little bit of sanding, that'll come up all right. It's come back a long way from where it was. So before we go any further with that, let's just lock that in as well. And we'll let that whole front section dry off. So we'll just put some glue in there. And again, we're going to put plenty on it because, you know, this is all under stress, this whole piece. And we'll put some on the other side as well. Not sure if you can see there. There we go, it wicked all the way around, that's nice. Okay, so that half is done, and as you can see down the back, it's still sort of split open. It's under stress, you can see it, it's trying to rip it open. But we'll let this front go off, and then we'll rework the rear end. Okay, there's the front of the ship, and it's pretty ugly. It's pretty ugly, this corner piece. There's nothing that I could have done about that. We can fix it up a little bit later, but we won't know how bad until we put the floor on to see how it fits, and then we can just rework this corner here if we have to. But apart from that, it looks not bad. There it is inside the join. It's together. So what we'll do is we'll go around to the back now. There's the back of it. It's under a lot of pressure to open up. It does close, so what we can do now is we'll put some glue in there, and while I've got you just there, I will do that as well. Let's get plenty down there. Go over the original stuff you went, just in case it needs to soften it for it to close up. And let's just close all that up because it is shut down there at the tip. And we'll just let that go off. Okay, and then we'll come back. Well, there it is all together. I think what we'll do is we'll just let it go off for a little bit longer, and I may sand this, or we may end this episode here. We're already about 20 minutes into it. I'm not sure how much I'm going to cut out of it. But what I will do is I'll give it 10 more minutes or so, and I'll come back and we'll see how it went. I was just looking at the plans, and there's another hull guard or bulkhead at the back here. So I'll quickly cut that off. This is mostly gone off, but it is still a little soft, so it does need a little more time. So there's that bulkhead right there. So I've glued one side, it's just sort of sitting there. Let's sort of glue the other side. There is a lot of tension on this rear end. So that'll help hold a lot of that. It'll certainly stop it from pulling apart. And then once it stops that, we might be able to put some more glue on that rear end, because every time I go to open it, or go to let go, it wants to open. Not by much, but it does. It still wants to open. So that'll help right there. And I'll put a bit more glue on the nose just in here, just to make sure it stays shut. Sorry, not the nose, the rear. And that rear bulkhead, that's section number 2. Looks like number 3 is asking for these prop shields to go on, and we may not put them on because that is all part of, I don't want these little tiny props just sort of hanging out there. I'd rather not put them on if that's the case. I will have a look because there's 2 with it and 2 without, so I'm not really sure what's going on there. Okay, there are 2 pieces that goes together to make one piece, which then fills in these triangles down the back here. And again, because of that very soft bit of sprue there, I may or may not put that on. I don't think so. Hard to say. I'll think about that one. But while I'm thinking about that, let's get the floor off and have a look at how it fits, so we know what we need to adjust on this. There's our floor off. I've just roughly cut it off. Now it's off. I'll give it a good clean up. But what I will tell you while I'm here, there's a lot of detail in this ship for a 1700. That is very clean, very good looking moulding. That does look very good. Well, there's our floor off, and I gave it a quick scuff and a quick sand all the way around. How well does it fit? Well, that's pretty good actually. Let's have a bit of a look. Yeah, that's a very good fit. Once you get that floor together, it's not that bad. The end here is still a bit mushed up, but we can probably do something with that now that we know how it looks. I'll bring it in the other way. Yeah, we can probably do something there with that. But before I fit this floor, I'm going to paint it. I did consider ordering timber floors for both of these, but to be honest with you, they wanted too much for what it was, how much we were really getting. And the scale is not my preferred scale, so while I don't mind the ship, and this is quite a big Bismarck, yeah, I can't wait to do the 1350. So anyway, I think what we'll do is we'll call the episode there for now, and yeah, I hope you're going to enjoy this series, or this episode of the Bismarck. I've got to stop saying the hood now. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you on the next one. So that's the flooring done. We'll get that cleaned up and we'll get ready for the next episode. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.